have a little confession to make. When we were seminarians, we used to have this bad habit of getting together after lunch or dinner or whenever we had a free moment to socialize. And needless to say, one of the seminarians would have just come back from an assignment or something like this, summertime, and they'd be like, "You can't believe what I saw this priest doing, you know?" And everyone would be like, "What is he doing?" And we'd all get into it, you know? And always something that was, bad or whatever. And they'd be like, "Oh, when I'm a priest, I'm never gonna be like that guy, you know? Never." Anyone else been there before? Maybe not about a priest, about someone else. Or "I'm never gonna be my parents." Or "I'm never gonna be like that guy I work with," huh? The tune changed a little bit when I became a priest, because I was like, dang, I could be like that guy next week, right? Or I'm there now, you know? And I think sometimes our righteousness can get the best of us. I think sometimes that we like to compare ourselves to others to kind of make ourselves feel better about who we are. I know sometimes even in my own life I can be like, hey, I'm not as bad as that person, huh? I'm not as bad as that sin I just heard in the confessional, right? We can compare ourselves, but this is not what the Christian life is about. It's not about a comparison to us being different than them or our sins being different. The reality in our life is that we're all sinners, and none of us can justify ourselves before the Lord. On a retreat once with the seminarians, we got in this big kind of discussion, big circle discussion, and one of the older seminarians said to us, he asked us this question. He said, "What's the worst sin? What's the worst sin?" And all of us young whippersnappers were like, "Well, it must be like adultery or murder or all of these kind of things." And he paused, and he said very calmly, he said, "No." He said, "The worst sin is my sin, because my sin separates me from God." This is, I think, what today's gospel's all about. We can try to come before the Lord and tell him, "Lord, look how many rosaries I prayed for you, or look how many things I've done for you, look how much I give, and look how much I deserve your love, Lord." And the Lord doesn't hear that cry, but he hears the cry of the poor. He hears the cry of a heart that needs him. He hears the cry of the heart of a sinner who says, "Lord, there is nothing I can do to redeem myself, but you alone can forgive me." It's funny that Pharisee, it says, went into the temple area and prayed a prayer to himself. Did we catch that little part at the end? He prayed the prayer to himself. The prayer wasn't for him in his relationship to God. It was a prayer to justify himself. But notice how the sinner who goes before the Lord, who stands off at a distance and can't even raise his eyes to heaven, beats his breast and cries out, "Lord, have mercy on me, a sinner." And he prayed, not to himself, but he prayed to the Lord, who alone had the authority to forgive his sins. Our faith is not about what we can do for God, but how much he's done for us. It's like us coming before the creator of the universe and the redeemer of all mankind and saying, "Lord, look at all this great stuff I did for you." And that makes us get in the way of the great gift that he has for us, and the great gift that we could never pay anything back for, which is his death on the cross that forgave us our sins. And I don't know what maybe sin you're struggling with in your life right now, or the one thing that we try to make a justification for every other way, the things that we hide from the Lord, thinking that he's not going to love us if he knew this part about me. The invitation of our gospel today is to get honest, and it's to get humble, and it's to throw our pride outside the door and say, "Lord, I'm broken. Lord, I need you. Lord, I need you to forgive me because I'm a sinner." And that's when the Lord can move in our lives. That's when the Lord can come break down the walls of our shame. He can come break down the walls of our hiding and bring us back into a right relationship with him. Our pride is this insidious thing that says the Christian life is about what I do. But grace is about allowing the Lord to tell us it's about what I can do within you when you allow me to. St. Paul, in our second reading, is the example of grace. He struggled with a lot of stuff, but he was super honest with it. He had this thorn in his flesh that he couldn't get rid of, and he just pleaded with the Lord, but he left it, knowing that that thorn was precisely the place that grace was going to continue to be poured into the life of St. Paul so that he can continue to run the race. I think in our lives as Christians, if we think it's all up to us, that's when we walk out those doors and we don't come back. But when we come here each and every Sunday, we know, Lord, I can't do anything for you, but you've done crazy things for me. That our faith stays alive, that our faith becomes the thing that endures until the end, because it's rooted in a love like this that endured until the end. I want to invite us today as we come forward and receive the craziest humble gift you'll ever receive in your life, the King of the universe who became a piece of bread for us. He humbles himself. He says, though he was in the form of God, he emptied himself and became like us, so that we could be lifted up from our place and be made like him. This is the mystery of our salvation. And so when we exalt ourselves, he's going to humble us some way. But when we come humble, when we come in need of him, when we come hungry, when we come poor, is the moment that when we receive him in his poverty, he'll make us rich in him.